My mom has a fake girlfriend. When the senior year of high school just started, she brought her daughter to my house and said that her daughter was my dad's seed. She asked my mom to give up her position, saying that she had been wronged for more than 10 years, and her child was about to take the college entrance examination, and she wanted a good life and a dignified status. But she forgot how she begged my mom to take her in on New Year's Eve 10 years ago. She forgot that I was also in the third year of high school, and my grades were several blocks away from her daughter. She even forgot that in our family it was never my dad who was in charge but my mom. Her name is Lila Yao. The first time I saw her was on New Year's Eve 10 years ago. At that time we were watching the Spring Festival Gala, and she knocked on my door with a little girl. My dad opened the door. After a moment of surprise, my mom rushed over and pushed it open. My dad hugged Lila Yao and cried and cursed, "Asshole, where have you been all these years?" I called the police at that time. My parents said that you ran away with a man. Why didn't you contact me for so long? Have you been living well these years? Why did you suddenly want to come back? Lila Yao cried and said that she was cheated by a man. She asked my mother if she was willing to take her in. Did the promise of sharing weal and woe still count? My mother said it counted. If my mother had a bowl of rice, she would have a bowl of porridge. Lila Yao stopped crying and repeatedly said that men were unreliable. Only best friends were reliable. After that, they sat on the sofa holding hands and reminiscing about the past. I pretended to watch TV, but actually eavesdropped openly with my ears erect. It is not difficult to piece together the fragmented information. Lila Yao and my mother were elementary school classmates. They grew up together and had a very good relationship. My mother got married early and got pregnant soon after marriage. Lila Yao took the initiative to take care of my mother and lived in my house. 3 months later, Lila Yao left without saying goodbye. The phone call was not connected. Her parents said she did not go home. My mother went to the police. His parents then said that he followed a big boss and went to a big city to enjoy life. The police asked Lila Yao's parents for her phone number and confirmed that it was safe before the matter was dropped. I just can't understand why you didn't tell me that you were leaving, why you changed your phone number and didn't let Uncle Sue and Auntie tell me. Aren't I afraid that you will look down on me? Lila Yao said in a wrong tone. The other party is a married man. I'm afraid you will say that I am a sugar daddy. Are you sugar daddy? Of course not. I really like him. Lila Yao answered confidently and pulled the little girl next to her. Didn't she give birth to a daughter for him named Lin Momo? According to Lila Yao, the man kept her outside. It was okay for the first few years. A month's living expenses are enough, but in the past 2 years, he is obviously tired of him. He is impatient when asked for money, but the cost in big cities is high. Lila Yao really has no choice but to come back. You haven't worked for so many years. Marrying a man and eating a man is not just for clothes and food. Why should I go to work? My mother was convinced and asked again after a few seconds, then do you know where he lives and where he works? Have you ever looked for him? If you don't have this, aren't you afraid of embarrassing him? Lila Yao lowered her head, glanced at my father obscurely, and left the hair behind her ears. My mother lowered her head and smiled, the corners of her lips slightly raised, and her eyes were full of coldness. I still remember that smile, but I didn't understand it at that time and couldn't guess it. They stayed in our house for a few days. Our house is big with 3 floors up and down, and there are small gardens in front and back. I still remember Lin Momo looking around, showing envy countless times. She likes my pink princess bed, countless beautiful clothes and plush dolls, and also like my mother's wall of bags, exquisite makeup and dazzling jewelry. She said to me, "Sister Feifei, your family is so rich." I was showing off, and my little vanity was greatly satisfied. From the drawer of the dressing table, I picked a bow hairpin and laid with rhinestones and pinned it on her head, giving you this good look. I like Lin Momo and like to play with her, but I don't like her mother. Her mother is enthusiastic about my mother and shyly smiles at my father. She praises me, but when she turns around, the jealousy in her eyes is about to overflow, like the face changing in Sichuan opera. She calls my mother Akyu, and she always says to my mother, "Cho, you say how lucky you are, marrying Lao Lin, you are very rich. Cho, your house actually has a piano room. It belongs to Feifei, right? Feifei is so lucky. She was born into a good family. My son Mo wanted to learn piano a few years ago, but I couldn't afford to buy one. Cho, I really like this sunroom in your house. It's like a dream house. Women have 2 chances to change their destiny. The first time is reincarnation, the second time is marriage. Cho, you can reincarnate and marry, unlike me." My mother took her hand and patted the back of her hand. "It will be fine. You are so beautiful. Which man does not love you?" Lila Yao's eyebrows revealed a proud red lip, like a maple leaf dyed by the autumn wind. My mother smiled indulgently. The look in her eyes when she looked at Lila Yao and her daughter was as if she was looking at the old hen and chicks in the chicken coop. My father didn't like this mother and daughter. Every time he saw them, he would frown slightly, and his eyes were full of impatience. I heard the conversation between my father and mother. "When will you ask them to move out?" Living here is not a long-term solution. Wait a few more days. Didn't you see that Liao is still healing her emotional injuries? It's inconvenient for a grown man like me to go in and out of the house at ordinary times. Just wear a bathrobe. Now that he is here, I have to dress neatly at all times. Does your best friend have any awareness of being a guest in someone else's house? She is walking around in the living room in a suspender nightgown in the middle of winter. Aren't you afraid of teaching the child bad things? Doesn't she trust you? Okay, I'll find a house for them as soon as possible. Don't be stern with them all day. A few days later, my mother found a house. It is more than 80 square meters, with 3 fine decorations and complete home appliances. The key is that it is close to Lin Momo's new school, just across the street. You want to drive me away? Li Liao burst into tears and looked at my mother in disbelief. The main reason is that Lao Lin finds it inconvenient. My mother doesn't take the blame for my father at all. She is afraid that if you live in our house for too long, it will cause gossip. People who know us say that we are good friends, but those who don't know us say that we are good friends. People thought you were Lao Lin's concubine. Wouldn't that delay your marriage? Li Liao pulled my mother, and the two of them chattered. One madly emphasized the deep friendship between best friends and was reluctant to leave my mother, hoping to continue living in my house. The other refused again and again, saying that the rent had been paid and adults needed private space. Moving out would only make the friendship stronger. I found it boring, so I looked around for Lin Momo wanting to play with her. As a result, at the kitchen door, I saw Lin Momo walking timidly towards my dad. My dad was cutting fruit with his back to him. Dad, don't you want us anymore? Lin Momo dragged out her tears. My dad froze and turned around for a while. When he saw Lin Momo, he also saw me standing at the door. His expression should have been shocked. My dad reacted quickly and made a choice. He walked straight towards the door. And when he passed by Lin Momo, he only said one sentence. You've got the wrong person. I thought Lin Momo was so stupid that he even got my father wrong. That night, I told my mother about it. My mother's eyes moved, and she smiled charmingly and enchantingly. She stared at my father. Really? These 3 short words were obviously unspeakably gentle, but my father's expression was as if he heard something that pierced his heart. His eyes were panicked and confused. Of course it was fake. A child misses his father, so he calls him dad when he catches an adult. Besides, he still lives in our house for so long. My mother smiled without saying a word. My father drove me out of the master bedroom and turned to give my mother a massage. After Li Liao moved out, he still came to my house often with high-sounding excuses. One was that he missed my mother, and the other was that he hoped I could teach Lin Momo to play the piano. Piano, my mother smiled gracefully. My father was the first to disagree. What can Fei teach? She is still learning. If you really want your daughter to learn, go out and find a piano store and hire a teacher. Li Liao felt a little embarrassed, but he smiled along. It was not necessary to talk about a famous thing, just to play with children of the same age, so that Fei could cultivate Momo's interest. I don't know which sentence irritated my father. My father's face became darker and he turned to the study. My mother was busy comforting Li Liao, saying don't pay attention to him, he has a bad temper. If Momo really wants to talk, she can come anytime. Fei will bring her in the early stage. After she learns, as long as Fei doesn't use the piano, Momo can use it at will. Li Liao smiled. My mother waved to Lin Momo and called her to the side. As long as Momo can persist for 3 years, she can come over on weekends to play a little. When you learn piano, your aunt will reward you with a piano. Lin Momo's eyes lit up. At that time, I thought Lin Momo really liked the piano. The first song I taught Lin Momo was Train, which had only 2 notes, simple and easy to learn. Lin Momo smiled like a crescent moon, revealing her little missing teeth. However, interest was like a tornado, coming and going fast. Lin Momo didn't even last the first hour and lost interest in the piano. For the next month, every time she came to my house to play the piano, she was like a cucumber hit by frost, with a droopy face and no energy. When my mother heard about it, she downloaded a piano practice app for iPad, charged a membership and gave it to Lin Momo. Li Liao kept praising my mother for her thoughtfulness. Unfortunately, Lin Momo only played for a few minutes in the piano room, then played games with the iPad in her arms. There was no one in the piano room the whole time. I was the one who played the piano piece that kept popping up. I was 8 years old that year and she was also 8 years old. My mother was a good girlfriend. After Li Liao came back, she not only helped solve Lin Momo's transfer problem, and got her into the best private elementary school with the best class, but also found a job for Li Liao. Li Liao had never worked and had no work experience. My mother used my father's connections to get her into a printing company, saying she was a clerk, but in fact she was just doing odd jobs. The salary was not high and there was no pressure. Li Liao was not satisfied and thought the income was too low. She said she worked hard for a month, but only had enough money to buy 2 pieces of clothes. She wanted to join our electronics factory and asked to be my father's secretary, but my mother refused. First, there was no secretary position in the company, only assistants, and they were men. Second, could Li Liao do it? Li Liao was very dissatisfied. Gon talked for a long time saying that my mother looked down on him and so on. Finally, my mother promised to let him work in the printing factory first, and try to leave him a job that did not require work but only paid. Li Liao was satisfied then and hugged my mother's arm and said, "My mother is the best girlfriend in the world. You are lucky. You married a rich man. You don't have to do anything. You can just enjoy yourself at home, go shopping, make faces and play mahjong." My mother didn't mention her identity as the financial director of the company at all. She just smiled and acquiesced in Li Liao's guess. Li Liao was indeed a hopeless case. The boss of the printing factory called my father several times, asking what kind of relative he was. A man in his 30s, incompetent and irresponsible, who liked to gossip and brag. If he was just dealing with family members, help find a job. It's almost done. Take it away quickly. My dad is good at cheating his friends and said a lot of good things to help Li Liao keep his job. Half a year later, Li Liao got into trouble again. He helped someone send and receive a document. Somehow the document didn't exist on the desktop. When he sent it out again, he sent it to the wrong person, resulting in the printed product not being the final draft. That batch of materials was all scrapped, with a direct economic loss of more than 100,000. When the boss called him and asked him to go back to the company, he was lying on the sofa in my house, making facial masks with my mother. It was printed wrong. Can't you just reprint it? Do you need me to teach you about this? Why do you ask me for help if it's not printed by me? I just received a document and didn't go. Have you been paid overtime for working overtime on weekends? Find out about the labor law. My mother looked at him in surprise, and after he hung up the phone, she asked the sender what happened. My dad rushed out from the study at this time, grabbed Li Liao from the sofa and started to scold him crazily. What the hell did you do again, Lao Su? After all, the company boss needs you to pay more than 100,000 yuan for the loss. Are you a pig? You dare to ask for overtime pay? Hey Li Liao, do you have a brain at all? Have you been eaten by a pig? I have never seen my dad so fierce. Lin Momo and I stood at the door of the piano room and looked downstairs. Lin Momo's little face was pale. Li Liao cried to my dad and said that he was not a worker. He could only serve men but not please leaders. He didn't understand the workplace. I don't know what my dad was thinking about, and his expression eased a little. My mom couldn't help but said, "You are not suitable for working, but suitable for being supported by men. That's what you are." Li Liao turned around and yelled at my mother with confidence. "Why can you live the life of a rich lady at home but I can't? I shouldn't have listened to you in the first place. What kind of work is this? What kind of money am I making? Am I cheap?" My mother stared with her eyes sparkling with anger and disappointment. My father panicked and took 3 steps at a time. He pulled Li Liao over and made a crisp slap. Li Liao was stunned. She covered her face, her lips trembling, and looked at my father in disbelief. The room was very quiet. Li Momo cried out, "Printing factory." I don't know how it was handled later. I just remember that my father was in a bad mood during that time. He invited the boss of the printing factory to have several meals. It should be an apology. Li Liao didn't come to my house for about half a month, and then he came happily and apologized to my mother, saying that he understood my mother's good intentions and that he was not doing well enough. He hoped that my mother would be magnanimous and forgive his ignorance. My mother smiled and shook her head, pinched his face in disgust and said, "You have been spoiled by the man. Now that you don't go to work, let's see what you will do in the future." Li Liao took my mother's arm and put her head on my mother's arm, smiling with a proud look on her face. Of course it's thanks to the man. My man is back again. My mother was so happy that she stood up from the sofa immediately. "Now that you have money, go shopping. As for this man, you have to spend more of his money. He will feel sorry for women only when he feels sorry for money." Li Liao smiled brightly and said yes, yes, yes. Before leaving, she did not forget to remind me and Lin Momo to practice the piano well. Lin Momo put his hands behind his back and held tightly. He was looking at his iPad, and on the screen was the game he hadn't finished. That night I asked my mother, "You were kind enough to find him a job, but he found a lot of trouble instead. Why did you forgive him as soon as he apologized?" My mother nonchalantly answered with 2 words, "Entertainment." After a while, she said that it wasn't me who had to clean up the mess, so I just liked watching him do it. I was young at that time without much analysis and reasoning. I just felt that the relationship between my mother and Li Liao was not as close as it seemed. Li Momo and I were in the same class and we had a good relationship throughout elementary school. This good relationship was based on my playing the piano to cover up his game playing, and also on doing homework together with me writing and him copying, and sharing good things together, and helping him cheat in exams. Lin Momo was always she often says that Feifei is so nice. Feifei is the best friend in the world. And Aunt Xiao is also the best aunt in the world. Of course I am the best friend in the world. Although I copy homework for him, explain the questions to him, and persuade him to study hard, Lin Momo doesn't take it seriously and always says that I am nagging. The world of games is full of a sense of accomplishment. Once you get involved, it is difficult to get out of it. Momo's academic performance was average to begin with, and it got worse and worse. Li Liao is dissatisfied with him in various ways and always compares me with him. When I passed the 7th level of piano, Lin Momo had just passed the 2nd level. I was in the top 3 in every exam in school, but Lin Momo was extremely unstable. If he succeeded in cheating, he would be in the top 10 in the class. If he failed to cheat, he would fall to the bottom of the class. His parents were often called in. Li Liao felt very embarrassed and would glare at him at every turn, getting very angry, slapped him and called him a pig-brained person. The unhappy reality made Lin Momo love playing games more and hate Li Liao more. My mother was different. My mother was the best aunt in the world. She would stop Li Liao's raised hand and say that children all love playing games. Don't scold too harshly or the child will rebel. She would collect Lin Momo's advantages, praise him and give him confidence. She would also take Lin Momo shopping and buy him sparkling stationery stickers and colorful accessories. Yes, Lin Momo is more narcissistic and beautiful than me. She loves to dress up and is the fashion trend of our class. She dresses herself up like a little butterfly every day, swaying among the flowers. My mother often praises her for being so beautiful. Like your mother, she has been a beauty since she was a child. I don't know what she will become when she grows up. I can't believe how many people I have charmed. Li Liao was so proud. She turned around and commented that Fei Fei was pretty, but she just didn't like to dress up. She would know how to dress up when she had a boyfriend in the future. My mother looked like she didn't want to mention me. She turned around and bought me 8 or 10 good books and stuffed them into my study. I knew what she wanted to express, which was nothing more than that books are the golden house. A man of learning is naturally elegant, human nature is complicated, beauty fades and love slackens, and a beautiful skin is not as good as an interesting soul. Children are actually very sensitive. The Call of Dad by Lin Momo in the kitchen when I was young has always been a thorn in my heart. Coupled with my mother's attitude towards Li Liao and her daughter, the thorn in my heart has grown stronger. I am good friends with Lin Momo, but I don't wish him well with all my heart. I have my own guess. I even followed my dad but failed. It was not until junior high school. I remember it was the end of the first semester of the first year of junior high school, when the exams were approaching. It was cold that day, and I went to the underground parking lot to feed stray cats. I saw someone next to my dad's car from a distance pulling and tugging. I found out that it was my dad Li Liao and Lin Momo. Lin Momo was carrying a school bag and was pushed by Li Liao. He stumbled in front of my dad. My dad helped Lin Momo up and looked up with helplessness. Liao, don't always talk about the child. I have never treated you and your daughter badly for so many years. How could I not treat you badly? Li Liao's voice was sharp. Look at Lin Fei Fei, she is wearing. What is it used for? At first glance she is a girl from a rich family. Then look at Lin Momo standing next to Lin Fei Fei, a bunch of cheap butterflies. The words cheap butterflies were particularly emphasized. My heart tightened, and I was busy looking at Lin Momo. Lin Momo lowered his head, kicking his toes on the ground, silent and not knowing what he was thinking. Lin Jian, I ask you, if it was your daughter, and you treated her differently like this, would you feel pain? Would it hurt? Would it hurt? Li Liao poked my dad's chest with one hand, poked it more than 10 times, and turned his head to the side. I don't care if I add another 10,000 every month, buy me a house and put my name on it. Otherwise I will tell Choji. Choji is my mother's name. My dad was so angry that he slapped the car hood. Li Liao, you are asking for such a big price. It was you who seduced me in the first place. After I got pregnant, I asked you to beat him. He looked at Lin Momo and swallowed half of his words. Okay, I will take responsibility after the birth of the child, and I will also pay you the living expenses every month. I asked you to stay outside, but you ran back and appeared in front of Choji. How did Choji treat you before? Ask yourself with your conscience, did he treat you as his best friend? My friend, you use him to threaten me every other day. You need 10,000 yuan a month for living expenses. Go ask around and see how many families can't earn 10,000 yuan a month. You open your mouth and now you want 20,000 yuan in a house. Do you think I'm a money printing machine? How many times have I told you that every penny I give you is saved by me, and I found it everywhere without telling Cho Chio. My father's voice was getting louder and louder, and he slapped the hood of the car with a bang. It was too ugly, too ugly. I had mixed feelings and tiptoed back. Li Liao's the voice continued to come from a distance. I don't care where your money comes from. If you had the ability, you shouldn't have gotten me pregnant. You have to take care of me now that I'm pregnant. Your family lives in a villa, but it's not too much for me to have a large flat. Lin Jian, let me tell you, illegitimate children enjoy the rights of married children. Half of your money belongs to Momo. Lin Momo, go ask your dad for money. You always just stand here, you're so stupid, what's the use of you? Lin Momo screamed. Oh mom, don't pull me. My heart is also pulled and heavy, and before it sinks, all the speculations are true, just it was like the terrible Murphy's Law. Everything I worry about is bound to happen. I don't remember how I went upstairs and returned to my little villa. I only remember that my mind was in a turmoil. My mother was cooking, and I was pacing back and forth in the little study. In the end, I didn't tell her what I saw. First, I didn't know how to start. The man who had slept with her for many years had betrayed her many years ago. Second, my mother might have known that there were clues all along. A smart person like her wouldn't just watch her bestie do it for no reason. Li Liao's man, I'm going to buy her a house. When my mother heard the news, she happily accompanied Li Liao to look at houses. They would not look at houses smaller than 150 square meters, and would not look at houses that did not have a wide river view. Li Liao would occasionally be hypocritical and ask if it was too expensive, which would make me look unvirtuous. My mother looked as if she was disappointed in me. What kind of virtuous woman is a mistress? I tell you, this is called hiding a beautiful woman in a golden house. Women, their youth is only a few years. If you don't tie up this man and pamper him, then when you are old and ugly, who will let you pamper him? Although I don't approve of you destroying other people's families, you are my bestie. Who else can I help if I don't help you? For men and women, love is fake, only money is real. Li Liao was so proud that she said hypocritically, I think so too. The two besties chose a 160 square meter riverview house while chatting and laughing, saying that great minds think alike. Akio, what are you thinking about? When I asked him to pay the full amount in one go and take out a mortgage? Of course I paid the full amount. How big is the risk of taking out a mortgage? What if you are discovered? Not to mention that his wife will come to your house and beat you, just crying, making a fuss, and threatening to commit suicide. Do you think he will continue to give you a mortgage? Li Liao, I agreed with her and signed the contract and paid the deposit. I was very proud of it. My mother also laughed. She looked at Li Liao with eyes full of joy of a homeless girl growing up. Who suffered? My father. The house worth more than 2 million yuan had to be paid for from his own pocket. He was anxious and insomniac for half a month. He first bought melatonin and then Valium. My mother asked him what was wrong, but he couldn't tell me. Several of his hairs turned white due to worry. The cigarettes in his bag used to be good ones, but now he always had 2 packs, one good one and one ordinary one. He smoked good cigarettes in front of outsiders to save face. When I'm alone, I just smoke the bad ones to satisfy my pleasure. My mom saw it but pretended not to see it. One day there was a scratch on my dad's face about 2 centimeters long. My mom asked him what happened to his face. My dad pretended to be confused and asked him what happened. My mom went up to him and touched it, and examined it and said, "It looks like it was scratched by nails. You don't keep cats outside, do you? Keeping cats means keeping women." My dad denied it 3 times. It's not that I don't talk nonsense. But this was really scratched by a stray cat. There are more and more stray cats in our community. According to my dad, when he was driving in the morning, a pregnant woman, a female cat, was perched on the front of his car. He went forward to chase the cat away, but was scratched by it instead. He didn't feel any pain at the time and didn't care. My mother deliberately ignored the freshness of the scratches and only urged my father to go to the hospital for rabies vaccination, 5 shots on the 3rd day, the 7th day, the 14th day and the 28th day. As for Li Liao, he was not in a good mood either. The corners of his mouth were cracked, and it was obvious that he had been beaten. He cursed several times in front of my mother, saying that all men were dogs, and that for a mere 2 million yuan the man actually hit her. My mother smiled and turned to the kitchen where she was cooking. My dad took one look and said to Li Liao, "You are killing a group of people with one blow by saying that. Our family's Lao Lin is a good person. I am in charge of the family money and I can spend it however I want." Li Liao curled her lips, looking a little aggrieved and jealous. My mom smiled and looked at her wound and comforted her. A Riverview house worth more than 2 million. Just ask around. If someone is willing to buy a house with such little damage after a beating, they would have to go around the earth 3 times. Li Liao was silent. My mom continued, "I estimate that more than 2 million is the limit for that man." Li Liao was silent. My mom sighed. "I'm so angry. You don't have a good taste. Finding a sponsor is different from finding a husband. The first thing is money and the power of money. Tell me what your man has." Li Liao was silent. My mother was comforting her. But fortunately more than 2 million yuan was in hand. How many families can't afford to buy a house in their lifetime? You can decorate it when he dies. Hey, I will help you choose the decoration. It doesn't have to be luxurious, but the materials must be high quality and the quality must be good. You must never save money that shouldn't be saved. My father couldn't stand it anymore. He walked out of the kitchen and scolded softly, "Prepare for my mom. Why do you worry about other people's lives?" My mom put her arm around Li Liao's shoulders. "If I don't worry about best friends, then who should? Besides, it's his fault for having bad taste to find a scumbag." My dad gritted his teeth silently. His face was very ugly. My mom rolled her eyes at him and said with disdain, "Look at your expression. You won't sympathize with that scumbag, will you?" My dad gritted his teeth and returned to the kitchen. My mom didn't do anything, just showing off her newly bought bags, jewelry, clothes and perfumes as usual, and then accompanying Li Liao shopping, affirming his idea that money is the most important thing and it is natural to spend a man's money. It is best to buy gold, which is valuable. My mother often says that other enjoyments are secondary. Li Liao deeply agrees with this. She uses ordinary skincare products and clothes, and spends all her money on gold and luxury goods. When Li Liao was deliberately buying a house, racking her brains to fleece my father, and going on a shopping spree, I could tell with my toes that Li Momo must be a money-grubbing weapon. My poor self-esteem, I don't know how many times Li Liao pressed her to the ground and rubbed her. She has changed. She used to just dislike studying and love playing games, but at least she knew that grades were important and she would copy my homework. He asked me to help him cheat in the exam, but in the 2nd year of junior high school, he hung out with some bad kids in the school. They put on makeup, smoked, beat people and asked lower grade students for money. I witnessed it once. On the side of the toilet in the school playground it was a blind spot, where the surveillance camera couldn't capture it. Lin Momo, with a cigarette in his mouth, and several other girls beat up a girl, hitting her in the stomach, and then divided the money on the girl. He saw me and walked straight over to me. "Isn't this the little princess next door?" Lin Momo was nonchalant. Momo wanted to rob her. The person next to him asked. Lin Momo shook his head and leaned close to my ear. "Lin Feifei, I warn you, don't meddle in other people's business, or you'll be the next one to be beaten." I glanced at the girl on the ground, told Lin Momo not to worry, and then left. I'm not a savior, nor do I have a virgin syndrome. After witnessing many things, I've long been indifferent. That year, I watched Lin Momo rebel and act vigorously. He disdained many things that we in the secular world pursue, such as grades and rankings. He looked down on the authority of teachers and parents, confronted facts, sang against and rolled his eyes. He desperately tried to tear the cocoon that was bound around him in his own way, and tried desperately to prove his existence. However, once youth is opened in the wrong way, the butterfly that should have emerged from the cocoon may become a moth, or it may be crushed and withered. Lin Momo's bullying of his classmates was soon exposed, and the school gave him a serious warning and kept him on observation. Lin Momo was dismissive. This was the youth he wanted. After the high school entrance examination in the 3rd year of junior high school, I was admitted to a key high school, and Lin Momo was transferred to a vocational high school. Li Liao was very dissatisfied with the result. He came to my house and cried. My father and my mother used their connections to let their daughter go to an ordinary high school. He repeatedly said that it was too embarrassing and it would be too embarrassing to tell anyone. My father was silent. He should have asked all the connections he could. My mother frowned and said that the policies have been tight in recent years. Those who failed the high school entrance examination basically have no chance. In the past few years they could still repeat their studies, but now it is not possible. The higher-ups are very strict. He said he would try to use his connections to ask again. Li Liao nodded with tears in her eyes and gave Lin Momo a look of disappointment. Lin Momo sneered. He had dreadlocks, chewed gum, wore huge earrings on his ears, and his eyeliner fell high. He was dismissive of his mother's request. I stayed in the living room for a short while and finished my white fungus soup, and walked straight to the study. Nanny Li looked at me and suddenly said, "The exam is over. Why are you still pretending? Are you pretending to be stupid?" My friendship with Nanny Li has long disappeared over the years. We are like two straight lines in time and space, which intersect briefly and then drift apart. I squatted down and turned around. Don't I still have to take the college entrance examination? I am different from you. I can't afford to be idle. I have to prepare for the college entrance examination. After all, my family has a company and then I have to take over. The room fell into a strange silence. Li Liao's eyes were full of hatred. My father frowned and my mother smiled slightly. Nanny Li's eyes widened and suddenly grabbed the ashtray on the table and threw it at me. I dodged sideways. "This is my home." I said the first half of the sentence to Li Momo, and the second half to Li Liao. "Auntie, you came here today to ask my father and mother for help. It's not right to be silent. Seems very uneducated." Li Liao's face was wonderful. My mother was appreciating it enough. After seeing Li Liao's reaction, she told me to go into the study room quickly and told Lin Momo not to think too much. It was indeed impossible for a vocational high school to go to a regular high school. Our family did not have that much money. In front of my father, my mother made a lot of phone calls, asked for a lot of connections, and invited people to dinner every few days. Of course, she also spent a lot of money to satisfy her best friend. My father said forget it several times. It was a policy matter and no one dared to cross the line. My mother then told Li Liao guiltily that there was really no way and I had tried my best. Li Liao had guessed such a result a long time ago, and glared at Lin Momo fiercely. Lin Momo responded with a roll of his eyes and a sneer. My mother was busy comforting her, saying that a vocational high school could also be used to take the college entrance examination. Although the teaching staff was a little worse, it was not completely without a chance. It would be no problem to practice more questions at that time. Momo was such a smart child. She didn't focus on studying before. Once she worked hard, it would be a sure thing for her to get into college. Li Liao replied with a sneer. He couldn't even afford the high school entrance examination, so how could he expect to go to university? With his dull brain, he was only fit to sell milk tea on the street. My mother hurriedly stopped him and told him not to say that in front of the children. Li Liao snorted, shook her head and rolled her eyes. My mother was giving advice. If you are really free, and you are afraid that you will not be able to find a good job in the future because of your low academic qualifications, then tell him to study English well and take the IELTS test. Send him abroad in 2 years. Don't go to an expensive school. 200,000 a year is enough. It's no better to go abroad and get a gold medal than to go to a low-rate university in China. Li Liao's eyes lit up. My father's hand holding the tea suddenly trembled and spilled the water all over the floor. Lao Lin, what's wrong with you? My mother pretended to be confused and looked at my father. Think so. My father said that you are unfamiliar with the place abroad and may not adapt to it if you go there. Instead of studying in a fake university abroad, it is better to go to a domestic university. Our domestic universities are not bad either. My mother nodded. That's what she said. What I said is, it would be best if I can get into a domestic university. I have thought of all aspects in advance. Rian, go back and discuss it with your husband. The matter of the child is a big deal. He can't just pay money without giving advice or effort. Li Mumu glanced at my dad coldly, snorted with his mouth turned up. Not to mention the difference between a heavy high school and a vocational high school, Tianyuan is also in levels higher. Get up at 6:10 in the morning and go to bed at 22:20. The middle row is full. Apart from the needs of survival, it's all about studying. He only goes home for 1 day on weekends to practice questions. On the other hand, Lin Momo, based on the information in the circle of friends, is either showing off selfies or showing off his love for his friends. He goes to disco and drinks, races cars and skips classes. He has an unbridled youth and a life of indifference. He is willing to spend money on a man who is willing to spend money on him. He is in love with a rich second-generation man who is several years older than him. He said that he likes his uniqueness, like a seductive rose. Li Liao was showing off in front of my mother, saying that she is much richer than your Lin family. It is better to marry well than to work well. Once Momo marries, she will be a rich wife and will directly cross the class barrier. I have always said that there is more to life than studying. A beautiful girl is the primary productive force. My mother looks at the world with a smile. There are top talents in every field. Momo is blessed and you are also blessed. Lu Ruyan glanced at me and sighed, saying that Xiao Feifei has a hard life. She gets up earlier than chickens and sleeps later than dogs. She is not sure what university she can get into. My mother said, that's right. She doesn't know how to dress up and doesn't understand the customs. How can she compare with Momo? She can only study hard. Li Liao looked at me with pity again, smiled and went straight to the study. I have long passed the age of talking to summer insects and ice. In fact, I have read 1 or 2 stories about overbearing CEOs falling in love with me, the YY of the week. In my second year of high school, my mother transferred 80% of the company's shares to my name. Of the remaining 20%, she and my dad only have 5%, and my grandfather only has 10%. I asked her why, and she said that the company would be mine sooner or later, and giving it to me in advance would increase my sense of responsibility. I asked her again, does my dad agree? My mom smiled and asked her back, what's there to disagree with? He only had 33% of the shares. You are his daughter, who else would he give it to if not you? She didn't break the cellophane. but only said that she would study hard and live up to them. In her second year of high school, Lin Momo broke up with her rich second-generation boyfriend, who got engaged to a well-matched young lady without his wisdom. After Li Liao made a small fuss, she weighed the pros and cons and suggested that Lin Momo endure it. As the saying goes, it is better to be a concubine of a wealthy family than a wife of a poor family. Lin Momo and Li Liao had a big fight, yelling, "Should I be like you, hiding from the light all my life?" Li Liao's identity is a scar on Lin Momo's heart. She doesn't allow herself to live like Li Liao. So on the day of her rich second-generation boyfriend's engagement, she made a scene at the engagement banquet. The other party had no face at all and just let her play with her. She didn't even look in the mirror. How could you, an illegitimate daughter, and a gangster be worthy of marrying into our family? Lin Momo's pride, opportunities collapsed. Tears fell in big drops, and her makeup was ruined. She said fiercely at the banquet, "One day you will regret it." The other party sneered, and I also laughed when I was watching the short video. There are not so many stories of the weak counterattack in the world. Being strong is not as simple as shouting a few slogans. What does he plan to rely on? A man? Turns out to be a man. I actually guessed it right, but not his man but his mother's man. After the summer vacation, I had just entered the third year of high school, and the mother and son came to the door again. They asked my father and mother to divorce, saying that my mother had occupied the identity of Mrs. Lin for too long, and should have given up her position long ago. He wanted to give Lin Momo a dignified identity, saying that Lin Momo is about to take the college entrance examination, and needs a stable, no longer frightened rear base. My mother showed a horrified expression, looking at my father and Li Luanyao in disbelief. My father repeatedly asked to listen to his explanation. My mother laughed in anger. What to explain? Lin Momo is only 3 months younger than Lin Feifei. Explain. How did you get together when I was pregnant? Explain. Li Liao, you came back and appeared in front of me every few days flirting with my husband, and I was like a fool treating Momo as my companion daughter, and being devoted to you and your daughter. You must be very proud. You played me in the palm of your hand. You are really great. And Feifei is also a senior high school student. Doesn't she need a stable rear base? Li Liao, you are so vicious. My father panicked while scolding Li Liao, comforting my mother, saying that Momo is power. Unexpectedly she was drunk at the time. Li Liao again, she used her trump card and said she was pregnant. She asked my dad, "Didn't your Lin family always want a son?" My dad was stunned and looked at Li Liao in disbelief. My mom didn't give my dad any chance to explain. She slapped my dad in the face and screamed, "Divorce, divorce tomorrow. Both of you get out of here." Clear fingerprints appeared on my dad's face. He didn't fight back but looked at me guiltily. Mom whispered that she would not divorce. My mom started smashing things one by one at my dad and Li Liao. Li Momo looked at my mom silently, and also at me standing at the door of the study. I also had no expression on my face. From the first time I heard Lin Momo call dad in the kitchen, until now I have imagined similar scenes countless times in my mind, and it just finally happened. Li Liao pulled my dad away, followed by Lin Momo. My mom rushed out and grabbed my dad's shoes at the door. I hit them one by one, scolding them for being heartless and wishing them a miserable death. When they walked away, I could no longer hide beside my mother. "Mom, are you okay?" My mother looked at me and smiled. She felt a little melancholy and self-deprecating, but also relieved. "The boot has finally dropped." She said, "Yes, it's finally over." I'm still worried about her. The rest of her life is long. I know. She smiled and touched my head. "You've grown up. I believe you can handle such a change." My mother and father divorced without a lawsuit. There is no dispute about the property in the agreement. My father only owns 5% of the company's shares, and my mother will run the company in the future. My mother has always been in charge of the stock funds invested by the family. When I was 18, my grandfather's name was transferred to me. The big villa where our family lives is my grandfather's property. The other properties were bought for me, and are all registered in my name. The so-called common property of the couple is pitifully small. My dad was wrong in the beginning. He did not fight for that part of the property, which was equivalent to leaving the house with nothing. After that, my dad moved to Li Liao's large flat. A few months later, my mom kept filing a lawsuit, accusing my dad of using the common property of the couple to buy a house for Li Liao during the period of marriage, supporting him for many years, and buying countless luxury goods. She wanted to take back all the property my dad bought for Li Liao. At the same time, during his tenure as general manager of the company, my dad accepted many kickbacks from suppliers in order to fill his own coffers for his own selfish desires, causing great economic losses to the company. The evidence was conclusive, and my mom demanded that the losses be recovered according to law. The court quickly ruled that the house, gold and silver jewelry, watches, bags and various luxury goods bought for Li Liao should all be returned. On the day of taking back the house, my mom went there in person, leaned against the door with her arms folded, and looked at them leisurely. "Don't say it's okay." I left the suitcase, and even the toothbrush, toothpaste and face towel were not allowed to be taken away by them. "Chocho, don't go too far." Li Liao rushed over with a desperate look. "To be honest, have you done this on purpose for so many years?" My father did not stop Li Liao, but just stood behind Li Liao and looked at my mother guiltily, waiting for my mother to hit me. "What did you do on purpose?" My mother asked back. "I deliberately moved into my best friend's house when she was pregnant, climbed into the man's bed when he was drunk, and came back on purpose, taking advantage of Lao Lin's fear that I would know and asking for excessive money. I deliberately made a scene in my house when Feifei was about to take the college entrance examination, disturbing her mind, for fear that she would not do well in the school. Li Liao, do you know where you lost? You lost because you didn't want to pay, and just wanted to rely on men to get something for nothing, and never thought about being self-reliant." Li Liao was not convinced. "Why didn't I pay?" I paid my youth. I'm just not as lucky as you. You were born with a rich father. I'm your little you have been my follower for so many years. Do you know how I feel and what you have paid? You just married a capable man. What's wrong with me robbing him away? What you can have, I can have as well. My mother drove him away like dust nonchalantly, so if you want it, I'll give it to you. He looked around the room. I carefully selected this house. I like it very much and hope I can sell it for a good price. The price of gold has skyrocketed in the past 2 years. I also like the gold and silver jewelry in your drawer, and those luxury goods are nice to hang on you. Thank you, thank you. If it weren't for you, Lao Lin wouldn't be able to take out all this private money. My father opened his mouth and wanted to say something. My mother turned her head to Lin Jian. You are not wronged. Marriage is a contract. No matter what the reason, you should be punished if you unilaterally tear it up. My father asked dryly, do you really have no feelings for me? My mother laughed, what is love? Can it be eaten? From the first time you betrayed me, you should have thought of this ending. You can just watch the drunken sex on TV. What can you do if you are really drunk? You are not qualified to tell me these things. The premise of supporting each other is to be a couple for a lifetime. He paused and said, thank you for your contribution to the company. Except for the kickbacks, it is generally good. As the saying goes, poor couples have many worries. After moving out of the big flat, my dad and Li Liao moved to a 2-building. They were not married and quarreled every few days. Li Liao thought my dad was incompetent and was nothing after leaving the company, and my mom. My dad blamed Li Liao for making trouble. Resources are the hard truth these days. Without the title of general manager in the company platform, my dad is nothing. Lin Momo did not counterattack. After graduating from vocational high school, he went to sell milk tea in a small shop in the mall. Li Liao's words came true. As for me and my mom, I went to a university in the capital majoring in business management, and my mom runs the company. Beautiful alone, the whole text is over.